Hi, I'm Ben Murdoch, the Songwriter Coach. So the 80s are back. Got a bit of hair there. So the 80s are back. Way back in 1985, the world was treated to one of my personal favourite songs of all time, Back to the Future. The same year, there was the film Terminator, where Arnold Schwarzenegger famously said, "I'll be back." It may have been prophetic. The 80s seem to be back. They're back, baby. One song which proves that the 80s are back and is the song that I'm going to look at today is Blinding Lights by The Weeknd. If you carbon dated this song, the result may well come back as 1985. If you charted the family tree of this song, its 80s ancestors might include a-ha, Depeche Mode, Ultravox, even Rod Stewart. I always hoped this was going to happen. I grew up in this wonderful decade, the 80s, and things go in and out of fashion. And let's face it, stranger things have happened than the 80s making a welcome return. And yeah, this song sounds like it could quite happily feature in the TV series Stranger Things. So TV and music are getting into this. Stranger Things has been incredibly successful. Great music, great storytelling coming together to transport the viewer into the world of the 80s. People are lapping it up, perhaps yearning for a simpler time with energetic, simple but melodic tunes. So the name given to this synth-pop 80s style of music is called synthwave. It's influenced by movie soundtracks and music from the 80s. The Weeknd's Blinding Lights is considered a synthwave pop song. Whatever we call it though, this song is an 80s sounding melodic piece which is uplifting and nostalgic feeling. Well, nostalgic feeling for someone of my age at least. Now, not all of the 80s influenced music that's around at the moment is synth heavy. Now this song is kind of synth heavy, but it uses it really well. The intro hints at the synth hook of the song, playing the opening 7 notes before the classic 80s drums kick in. So going back to the family tree, these drums that kick in are very much influenced, I think, by a-ha's Take On Me. Perhaps Take On Me is like a great-grandfather on the family tree. Then the synths come out in full force to treat us to the full hook, and I'm instantly back in the mid-80s. The synth hook feels as though it's influenced by a number of ancestors in this family tree. a-ha again, maybe a bit of Rod Stewart's Young Turks, Pat Benatar's Love Is a Battlefield, and might be hearing a bit of Ultravox in there too. And there's others that I can't quite place just yet. It's like when a baby is born and the family all pull apart the features of the girl, saying things like, "Ooh, she's got your nose," or "her eyes are just like her great-grandfather's." And the new proud parents are thinking, "She's unique and beautiful, just leave her alone." But perhaps the family were a little bit right. She might well have eyes similar to her great-grandfather. They share a family tree after all. And it's the same here. Blinding Lights sits at the bottom of the family tree as the newborn addition to a wonderful family, a musical dynasty even. So the 80s are back. Blinding Lights definitely has some cousins and uncles and even aunts which perhaps look a little different to the great ancestors who came before. These are songs which tried to bring the genre back and it didn't quite fire and work for whatever reason, but this song looks and sounds like its ancestors. So back to the song. We've had the synth hook teaser, the drums have kicked in, and then the full synth hook. We're 25 seconds into the song now, and the musical language of the song has been established and laid down. We know what to expect, and it's going to be good. We just don't know yet what the lyrical language is going to be. So let's look at that a bit now. For such an uplifting beat and melody which pops and swoons around, you might expect the lyric to be sort of wildly happy and optimistic. Maybe about a character full of joy in total control of his romantic life. But that's not what this song says. But surprises are good, and juxtaposition in songwriting is a great tool. I guess, simply put, juxtaposition is the use of contrast, and contrasting the feel of music with the message of the lyrics is something that, when done well and skillfully, really works. But you have to be careful with this though. If you get it wrong, it'll bomb. Imagine writing a lyric which raves about how much you love your partner, and then setting it to Chopin's Funeral March. So that might be juxtaposition, but it sends a horrible mixed message, especially to that partner. It'd probably end with them walking out on you. It's a fine balance. So the lyrics of Blinding Lights contrast beautifully to the music. The happy-go-lucky synth-pop intro yields to the opening sung lines, which are a confession of being vulnerable rather than confident. In these opening lines he says, "I've been trying to call, I've been on my own for long enough. Maybe you can show me how to love. Maybe." And there it is, the lyrical language and message of the song has been established and laid down. It feels conversational, although it's using soliloquy here, I think, rather than two people talking, because I see him saying these things to himself rather than to her based on the whole lyric. I've talked about soliloquy before. It's a great, powerful technique to use as it's inviting the listener into the heart and mind of the writer. So the level of intimacy between the lyricist and the listener is really high, which is a great place to start. So verse 1 gives us a great idea of where he is psychologically, and it's wildly contrasting with the music, but in a clever and absorbing way. The main thing is that it's not jarring and out of place, like the love song set to the funeral march would have been. He tells us that the person he's singing about can maybe show him how to love. We know the song is about someone he loves or wants to love. And we know he's feeling vulnerable and uncertain with the use of the word maybe. We now have a cast of two people, a love song however it may be. Now our inquiring minds here might like to know where all of this is happening. Place is often used in songwriting to add a degree of reality, allowing the listeners to visualize and relate to the story. And in the first pre-chorus, we learn that he's in Las Vegas. I look around and Sin City's cold and empty. So now the song has painted a picture of people and place, who and where. So now what? What's the story? Well, it began with vulnerability and uncertainty, and that's the theme that runs through the whole song. It has lines like, I can't sleep until I feel your touch, and I'm drowning in the night. When I'm like this, you're the only one I trust. I'm running out of time. I can't see clearly when you're gone. Later in the song, he lets us know that there is something he has to tell her. I'm just walking by to let you know. I can never say it on the phone. We'll never let you go this time. So now we know that he and this person used to be together, and he wants them to be together again. So in all the madness surrounding his life, all the blinding lights and drowning, there is absolute clarity about this one thing. He needs to be with this person and stay with her this time. So if I was asked what the crux of the story of this song is, I might say, right, this is about a guy who jumps in his car to tell his ex in person that he wants her back for good. Why does he want to do this? Because without her he can't sleep, he can't see clearly, and she's the only one he trusts. When I listen to the lyrics of this song, I'm reminded of another 80s ancestor, Roy Orbison's I Drove All Night. Both songs start in a city. The Weeknd city is cold and empty, while Roy Orbison's city is sticky and cruel. That's a definite ancestral similarity right there, because both songs use two adjectives to describe the unfulfilling city that they're starting their journeys and stories in. Give I Drove All Night a listen and you'll spot some similarities in the story. Things like how both men feel about the women in the story and how they both drive to see her, choosing to do that in person rather than talk over the phone. Similar isn't copying, by the way. It's really important to remember that. The new baby girl didn't copy her great-grandfather's eyes. She can't copy eyes, but physical traits were passed on. She's unique. Some songs do copy and get into big trouble over it, of course. But Blinding Lights is unique. It just shares some of the traits and characteristics of its 80s ancestors, and I'm really happy to see that this great family's bloodline is still alive and kicking. If you've enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe. Don't forget to hit the bell too so that you get notified when I release new videos. Take care everyone, and keep writing great songs.